What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So I have a customer that has two BMWs. One he brought to me, he went to AAA for an oil change. And this is why I can't stress enough. Going to places that advertise quick lubes, usually quick lube services don't usually have high skilled people in their shop. And I haven't seen his BMW for service, although we've worked on his son's car many of times. So now his wife's BMW is here, and I said, well, I haven't seen this car. It's got 39,000 miles on it. I need to look this thing over. But anyway, he brings his car in after having oil done at AAA service center, which is near his house. And he's like, oh, a simple oil change. How can they screw it up? Yeah, they screwed it up. They didn't put enough oil in his car, and he was driving it around, and then he was getting all these messages. And then by the time he got to me, it has some time and chain codes in the background that come and go. And he's got oil leaking from many different areas of the engine. The valve cover, the left side of the engine, the oil pan. And he has 60,000 miles on it. I'm like, dude, this is a headache. On top of the engine was ran low on oil. Just get rid of it. You know, that's my opinion for that one. So anyway, he said his wife's car needs an oil change. Let me look it over why it's here. She had some concerns about her brakes, and you know what? She was right. She does have brake problems. So the brake rotor surfaces right there are completely rusted out, right? So there's the top of the rotor, and then if you go in like 3/8 of an inch, that's where the brake pad's touching, and then you go in 3/8 of an inch again, the brake pad's not touching. So she's stopping on maybe 65% of the brake pad on the inboard pad there, and similar situation there, but not exactly. So she's right, it needs front brake pads and rotors. The back ones are okay. You can see that the rotor surface is complete all the way across. Let's get a closer look in there, right there. So they're not rusted out, and the friction seems to still be good. But then now I'm looking at her tires, right? And the tires have dry rot cracks in them, you know, so that's not good. So the dry rot cracks all inside the treads, say right here, and that's all the way across the car. So dry rot is not a good thing. Dry rot cracks, split there. So that's the rear tires. And sometimes you can get it to show up on the outside of the tires, but if you're the type of person that, you know, puts tire shine on, that actually conditions the rubber, and it doesn't really tell you what's going on with the rest of the tires. You're like, oh, my tires are good. These are good tires in the front. So these are fairly new, and the back ones need to go. So we need to match a set of Firestones, 225 50 18s, 95 William Mud and Snow. Bam. Firestone Firehawk ASV2s. Firestone Firehawk ASV2s, 225 50 18s. So new, not new. So the good years are shot, even though the tread's good for dry rot cracks. The front brakes. So look, just because the outside of the rotor is good, right, doesn't mean the inside of the rotor is good. So I'm sure they've been to a quick lube or someplace for maintenance, and they're not being advised properly. So anyway, we think that the AAA place basically caused his time and chain codes, because he said he's never had a warning light come on in that car until after they changed the oil. Well, I believe him. So this is an X-Drive 28i. I didn't get into filters. I'm going to say it's probably due for some type of filters, air filtering cabin. And being that it's screwed into the airbox, we don't courtesy check them. We just go based on, has this vehicle been maintained or not? I'm going to tell you somewhat. I can't say for sure. But I'll tell you, the brakes were in this condition the last oil change, that's for sure. The tires in the back were in that condition for sure. And then this engine is actually very dry. There's no oil leaks. And what screws up for some places is that these shields absorb oil leaks. And that's one thing I hate about them, because a customer may not know that they have oil leaks or seepage or coolant or fluid. because it gets into this diaper, I'm going to call it. I'm going to call this an engine shield diaper. It absorbs fluids. And the only time that you're going to know that you have a leak until a technician pulls it down, and then eventually, if it's pissing, it will puddle inside of here, and then it will start to drip out. Just the way that it goes. So these shields are good and bad in many ways. I, for one, don't like them because it hides what's going on with the engine, transmission, and other systems that retain fluids. But then they do provide some aerodynamics, and you can't say that this is protection. This ain't protection shit. It's basically felt paper-ish, cardboard kind of thing. Thanks for watching.